Hello all, Serious Lee's here. Today we are going to talk all about frigates. Frigate fuel efficiency, fleet coordination, all that jazz, everything to do about frigates. But there's some big news first, something I'm pretty excited about myself. I had a whole video recorded and we discovered at the end of it something new and special that I think is new with Endurance. I tested it during the previous big patch, but not since the past couple expeditions. But since Endurance, for sure, this is working. Finally, Derelict freighter modules, salvaged technology, salvaged derelict units, fleet beacons, and fuel units are working. They have an effect on your missions, finally. So we're going to do some installing. I spent all morning grinding after I discovered that, and we're going to do everything all over again on this save because I did it on permadeath, where I had most of that stuff already ready to test, and I didn't have any salvaged fleet beacons or fuel efficiency modules on this save, so I had to go farm them. I used my own videos before for the 6 glyph addresses for 250 derelicts. Something we should take note of right away is that not all derelicts are created equal. If we go to my freighter over here, we have our hyperdrive modules. They are all 250 light years by that video, right? There we go. And we can see this one comes from the Newman, this one comes from the Sister of Goriju, this one comes from the MS Uno. If we go into tech, we'll see the other ones. The Invincible Iruno, the Yellow Nodat, and the Hizomato. Okay, so we'll recognize some of those names over here. We have the Newman, we have the Sister of Goriju, and we have the Invincible Iruno. So all of those were 250 light year S-class derelicts, but not all of these. Watch, we'll install this one right now. We're going to uninstall it right away. But look at this. 16% efficiency. Let's uninstall it. Whoops. All right, let's go over here. Let's try the Sister of Goriju. Well, that's a lot better. 19% efficiency for that one. Yeah, that's worth keeping around if that's the best you got. But this one here, the Invincible Iruno, is a 20% fuel efficiency module and a 250 light year derelict. Now, this is the derelict that I cannot, in about 20 or 30 galaxies I've tried, find one where it doesn't have bugs. It has insects. Monstrosity minis, unfortunately. So you got to deal with them to get that. I did a lot of farming this morning on that one to get all of those. We're going to install them in a minute. First, let's start talking about frigates so we know what we're getting at when we do install those. That's just the exciting news. Get it out of the way first. Now let's go over some tips and tricks and stuff about frigates. I guess we can just do everything from here. We might need to go back and forth with the missions to talk about some stuff because we can't see the frigates when we're sending missions. We can't see the details of them, and we can't see actual fuel costs and stuff like that when we're not sending missions. So if we go to manage our fleet here, my fleet is pretty much full. I have 30 frigates. I've recently got the Dream Aerial, and I'm working on leveling up some organic frigates. The rest of mine, pretty much, except for the Leviathan and the Normandy, are support frigates. Long ago, I've realized, ever since the update that gave us derelicts, and we got these upgrades, that's something to note here as well. These freighter upgrades here, all of these ones increase your abilities of frigate missions for various things. Trade, we got expedition, that's exploration, mining, combat, and those increase your fleet coordination rating. And these give you bonus stats when you are sending out missions, such that even a terrible support frigate can get 5 stars in most missions by itself. Or maybe you send 2 of them. Oh no, only 2 frigates, 5-star mission. Very fuel efficient ships too. But something I never noticed is that there are differences even between support frigates. So I have a combat, 2 exploration, an industrial, and a trade, and then the rest are support except for my recon, and organics. Organics can be any kind of ship. This specially named organic, the Leviathan, is a hybrid. It is, these three stats are pretty high. So it's got combat, it's got exploration, and it's got trade. It does not have a very good industrial stat. Neither does the Normandy. Normandy also doesn't have a very good trade stat, but it's amazing in combat, and it's a hybrid there. Exploration, combat, combat, exploration, trade for these ones. So those are hybrids. These are regular ships. Your living frigates will be regular kinds of, see this here, minus fuel cost. See these stats being all very similar and none in specific is bigger than the others. That's a support ship. This living frigate is a support living frigate. This one here, oh, look at there, echolocation plus 15 in exploration. We can see the stat difference. This is an exploration living frigate. Here we have another support living frigate. I've tried specifically to look for these ones, so that's why I have so many of them. And here we have a if we get it to show up, there we go. Here we have a third support living frigate. Something very interesting I've noticed about living frigates is that the bonuses, I'm going to call these bonuses and these stats, if we're wondering what I'm saying in the future, these bonuses are not set in stone. Here's a C-class vessel with only one upgrade so far, and it doesn't have the base upgrade. If we go to a combat ship, it starts with that 15 combat. Exploration starts with exploration. Support vessels, these here, they start with the minus 15 to fuel cost. So this living ship at the back here is very interesting that it doesn't start with that. And apparently we can like feed the vessel. I have not played around with this yet, so unfortunately I can't do much in the tips and tricks of this, but I do hear you can change this from a support to a combat. I can hear you can change it from a support to a support with different stats. We could play around, but we don't probably have time for that today. What I'd like to talk about today is these bonuses, these stats, and these stats here, all of this mess that people just ignore all the time. What's important, what isn't important, and what would I rank as most important to least important? Let's go over that. So a lot of people put a lot of stock into the stats, but because of that fleet coordination stat we showed before, once you get to the mid to late game and you're able to do derelict freighters and you can actually farm these modules, you have a very good opportunity to make your frigate fleets very independent and very fuel efficient. You do not need to have a 48 combat vessel just to get your ship to 5 stars, your frigate fleet missions to 5 stars. You don't need that. You can get that from an 18 in a support vessel. An 18 combat rating in a support vessel will get you there. So yeah, these stats, they're important. You want to get them around 20 minimum to get 5 stars in every kind of possible mission. But sending 2 support frigates is going to be a lot cheaper than sending anything else. If we go over to a support frigate here, we can look at this stat. I feel this is the stat that I've overlooked my entire time playing the game, and it's very, very important, possibly even more so than the bonuses over here. This does not change. This is the same fuel requirements as when I got this ship at C-class. Level it up, it'll stay at 7. But you can get ships as low as 3. I've seen on my permadeath save, I have some that are only 2 tons of fuel per 250 light years. You can use this statistic here and do math to figure out exactly how much fuel you're going to have to spend on any given fuel mission, frigate mission. It's not really worth figuring it out using a calculator and all that, but obviously 3 tons per 250 light years is going to be significantly cheaper than 12 tons. It's 4 times cheaper to send that support frigate than it is to send the Normandy. It is almost 8 times cheaper than this living frigate. 17 tons of fuel. So I've noticed there's a range of fuel requirements for most frigates and support frigates, and it's different, but there's also a range within the support frigates. So support frigates range, in my experience, from 2 tons up to 8, and other ships range from, I think, 11. On permadeath, I've seen 11 for these instead of 12s. So 11 to 18 is about the range for other normal ships, including living frigates. Living frigates are basically normal ships with a really cool skin and randomized bonuses. Something else we should probably talk about are the bonuses. Those are probably the second most important stat as far as I'm concerned these days. Now, because of that first discovery we talked about and how the fuel efficiency stuff now works, those modules, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we don't need to worry too heavily about this, but I still think it's pretty important that you go for this as your biggest concern when buying new frigates, because this won't change. It'll stay whatever it is. If you see a 3, it'll be 3 when it hits S-class. It'll be 3 when it hits 55 expeditions. All of this here is essentially flavor text. This is a statistic that does keep track. If you damage your frigates and they come back from a mission damaged, this will increase. But it doesn't seem to have an effect on what they bring back. It doesn't seem to have an effect on their success rates. It doesn't have an effect on how their stats make it 5-star mission or not. It doesn't really matter. It's basically flavor text, but it does keep track. This keeps track of your experience. At various stages, when you hit 4 expeditions, you'll hit a new level. When you hit, I think, 8, you'll hit a new, maybe it's 9, you'll hit a new level. At various points, you will hit new levels. That's kept track of here, what level you're on, how far you are to the next one. But it's set. And when you hit 55 expeditions here, you're done leveling up. You'll get one final level at 55 usually, and that will change your stats one more time. And when you hit S-class, you'll have 4 bonuses here. See, we are an A-class ship. We've got our default and 1, 2, 3 bonuses. We're probably going to scrap this ship because even though it has really great fuel efficiency, it has damage reduction and 2 bonuses that don't help fuel cost and don't help mission duration reduction. So we're probably going to get rid of this guy later. But as an example, when this guy hits 55, he will stop leveling. He'll get his final bonuses here. And at some point when he levels, maybe not at 55, maybe before that, he will get one more bonus. He'll become an S-class. That's what determines these. If we back out here, C-class vessels have either 1, see these notches here, under here, that's how many bonuses they have over on this side of the screen when we go to look at them, or they have 2. Once they hit 3, they move up to B-class. Once they hit 4, they move up to A-class. When they hit 5 bonuses, they're S-class. If your ship has negatives, they will be red blotches here. And at some point during your leveling up, you will have to get rid of that red blotch before you can continue leveling up your blotches to S-class. And you might never hit S-class. If this said 44 expeditions, and we had a red mark against us here, a negative, we would probably never hit S-class. We would have only 10 expeditions to not only gain a level and get rid of the red one here, but gain a level and gain a new one. And you're not guaranteed every time you level up to get rid of one or gain one. It's a chance. So you have only a set number of levels to get to S-class by getting the 4 bonuses beyond your basic one. All right. Let's see. What else should we talk about? Maybe some of the specific bonuses and how they work. The ones I've specifically mentioned are fuel cost reduction and mission duration reduction. Here we go. Experimental impulse drive, 3% expedition duration reduction. That will actually cut down. If you had a 10-hour expedition, it would cut 30 minutes. I can't remember how the method. It cuts exactly 3% of the duration off of your mission. So if you have a ship that gives, say, 5%, this exploration here has a 3% and a 2. That's how I name my ships. This is just the procedural name, but I get rid of the whatever is at the beginning and replace it with either the mission duration reduction or the fuel cost reduction, or both if it has both. Support frigates often have both because all support frigates reduce fuel by at least 15. Let's go back into a ship here. This one here, even though it's really great, it's got negative 30 to fuel cost, but it's got 7 tons of fuel per 250 instead of 3. That's more than double what I could get from a better ship. So I might even get rid of this one at some point and try leveling up another ship to see what I get. In the meantime, this is better than any of my combat ships. It's a really good ship. I'm going to keep leveling it up to gain stats so it can 5-star missions. But yeah, let's go back to these. On support vessels, the fuel cost reduction modules you can gain range from 3 to 6 to 9. Let's see if we have a ship here that has a 3. Here's a ship that has a 3. On every other kind of vessel, if we go to, say, a trade vessel here, we don't have any mission, or we don't have any fuel reduction on this one, or that one, or that one, or that one. Here we go. Here's a combat vessel with some fuel reduction bonuses. You can see 3, 6, and 9. Well, 6 matches, but 4 doesn't. Where does 4 come from? Well, on other vessels, the stats for these are 2, 4, and 6 for the high-end ones. So there's a low, medium, and high version of each of them. And on support vessels, you get better ones for fuel cost reduction. Now, conversely, on support vessels, when you get these bonuses here, you get 1, 2, and 3 to industry, exploration, or these stats. On a combat vessel, you get 2, 4, and 6, the same as you would for these fuel reduction bonuses. So you can get way higher bonuses on your combat ship to combat than you can on a support vessel. But as I was saying before, thanks to fleet coordination, we do not really need to focus on combat to a high degree. So we don't need to worry about 2, 4, 6 versus 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is fine for combat bonuses. In fact, I would love if this didn't have any bonuses to exploration or industry at all, and instead of those 3, we had 3 to mission duration reduction. That would be fantastic. I would love that. 3 tons of fuel. This could be an 8% reduction to missions. That would be great. That would be amazing. All right, so now that we've gone over a lot of different stuff, let's try to put that to use by sending a mission. And we're not going to actually hit send on it. We're just going to queue it up and see what we get. And then we're going to see what we can do with our new modules, right? We're going to do 2 things here. I was hoping to have a very long mission. It's easier to show with an exceptionally long mission. If you have a 19-hour or a 28, I've seen sometimes, 28-hour mission, goes by light years. The light years usually determines the length, determines the fuel cost, and this will not change. The light years will be the same. We're going to remember that, 3570, okay? But this here, this is definitely going to change as we do stuff. 13 hours, 33 minutes, and 47 seconds is how long that mission takes. If we send this 5%, that went down to 12 hours and 53 minutes. If we took over half an hour off of that with 5% reduction. So we're not going to do that, though, because if we go back in, we'll see the cost is 300 tons of fuel. And we're only at a 3-star rating. It's a combat mission. We shouldn't be sending. You know what? Why don't we send a combat ship there? 200 tons of fuel to this guy, and it's a 5-star mission by himself. All right, so let's remember that. It doesn't affect the time at all because he doesn't have any bonuses to time, but that's fine. 200 tons of fuel is what we're looking for here. The other thing we're going to do is look at these times and distances. Check all of them if you want, but this is going to be the easiest one to see. 3570 and 1333. It doesn't count the seconds here. It always says 0, but there is a second count on all of them. 44 seconds for that one, etc. Whatever. Just ignore that. These are going to change. They're going to change. Let's back out. Let's do some installation of modules. We're going to put these guys in. These are for fuel efficiency from various... no, these are all from the Invincible Iruno. And if we go to these, 20% fuel efficiency reduction. So that's the highest I've seen. I don't know if there's 21. I very much doubt it. I spent a lot of time looking through all my 250s. Oh, I don't have room to put those ones in yet. We need to do some moving of stuff around with my... You know what? We got a little bit of time. We got some time. We're going to sacrifice a little bit of light year range. We're going to sacrifice a lot of materials, actually, if we don't put them away. Sure, doesn't matter. Oh, we can delete that. We don't need the money. There we go. This stuff's valuable for making other crafted products. The plants too, so I got to keep them. We can make a lot more money with these than we can with one gold item that we get from a frigate mission. Okay, let's make some space right here at the bottom. We need basically 9 slots because we need to move a whole bunch of stuff over from the other side of the technology slots. We have to move all of this stuff over here. We're going to overload it for a moment. Whoops. By putting too many upgrades on one side or the other. But that just gives us more slots in the tech, and it's got to be done. We have to waste most of our slots here to get a perfect freighter. There we go, and then we can move these ones over. And that should clear us up. Now, whoops, we have to move this one as well, or we have to get rid of it. We don't need this one. So if we put it back here, touching the others, this is what we were at before. We might have been at 0.6. I can't remember, but it was definitely 6327. If we just delete this one completely, we lose about 120 light years. We can suck it up. I think that's pretty good for a hyperdrive range for a freighter. And now we have the space to do all of our installation of all of our modules. Let's move that over there. And we get to keep our hyperdrive range. All right, so we need to whoops. Right. We need to remember it cost us 200 tons of fuel to send just that combat vessel by itself. And now that we've installed 120% reduction to our fuel bonuses, we'll see what that does. And we need to remember that it was 13 hours and 33 minutes for 3570 light years. So let's install these two for speed and see what we get. Now, these speed ones cap out at 15%. I've never seen anything beyond 15%, so I didn't need to farm these. They all came from my fastest freighter that I know of that's S-Class, the HS Hizimato in Euclid. That's a fantastic one. Check that address out. It's in my 6 address 250 light year one. It also has a 250 light year hyperdrive upgrade, so if you're just farming for hyperdrive upgrades, it works for that. If you just want storage cargo bulkheads for your freighter, it's amazing for that. Super fast derelict. Oh, I need to install it, not move it. Right. There we go. So we've gone from 103 or 105, 103.5 I think is what we had, to 122. So we've increased our fleet coordination. We're going to gain even more stats, but that's not what we were after stats. We were after changing things like duration. So 3570 light years, not 13 hours and 33 minutes anymore. It's now 3 hours and 5 minutes, but it is still a max, well, not max length. You can get like almost 5,000 light years in missions, but it's still a high-end mission. This will have a huge number of stops for your frigates to stop at and get you bonuses. This, combined with the type, is what gets you how much loot. It doesn't matter which frigates you send for what loot you get back. What matters is how long the mission is, how many stops it makes along the way, right? And the type of mission, which determines the type of things that it can get along the way. Combat missions get a lot more combat chances. So you'll bring different stuff back on a combat mission than you will in a discovery, than you will in a trade, than you will in a balanced. But the length of the mission determines how much stuff you will bring back. And it doesn't matter if you send living frigates or combat frigates or trade or mining. It doesn't matter if you send support frigates. It's all the same. This is the only thing that matters is the type and the length. So we have reduced our duration from 13 hours to 3 hours. Fantastic. And the light year has not changed at all. We're still going that distance. Let's see how much it costs to send this frigate 50 tons of fuel, down from 200. With these upgrades, basically all of my frigate missions are going to be free from now on because I don't have to send that combat ship. I can send, where was that bad one? Was this the bad one? No, it was this. This was the bad one. 30%, or well, not percent, 30 reduction to fuel. Free. Oh, it's only a 2-star mission. We haven't leveled this guy up yet. He's not going to 5-star the mission. But you know what? We could probably send 5 support vessels. It's free. It's free. With those upgrades and very fuel efficient ships that all have fuel reduction, all of your frigate missions will be free. So that's an end game goal for you. You're not going to accomplish this starting off first thing when you start playing, first thing when you start unlocking frigates and sending frigate missions, but it is something to work towards. And the sooner you start leveling up your support frigates, the better they are going to be once you do get the bonuses from your upgrade modules. So that's basically everything we needed to cover today. Do I need to send any frigate missions on this save? Do I have enough fuel? I think that's enough fuel to send, probably 20 missions. And I might never need to make more, which is fantastic. I can send frigate missions every day. Something we haven't yet discussed is, why would you be sending frigate missions? What's the point of sending frigate missions? Well, this stuff here, thermic condensate, enriched carbon, all of these things that I put away wherever they went to in here. This stuff here, all of this has come back from frigate missions. All of this is used. I haven't earned these. I've made these from stuff that's come back, like cryopumps. Cryopumps came back. I combined it with some plants to make that. That's worth way more. 3 of these is 11 million. 3 of these is 4.5 million. All you had to combine it with was plants. So you send frigate missions, you're going to get all of this stuff back. You're never going to need to farm up radon to make this stuff. You're never going to need to worry about iridesite. You're going to get that back from frigate missions, geodesite. And if you don't get that stuff, you do get this stuff, which is what you use to make it. See, look, crafted from aronium, magnogold, and grantine. That's the 3 items you need right there. Boom, I can make more. And it all comes from frigate missions. That's why you do them, to make tons of money for free without having to do anything but have a plant farm. So you don't have to go and make a gas farm. You don't have to make stellar extractors and park it in a blue star system to get, I don't know, probably radon. That's the purple one, right? You don't have to make all of these rooms. I just made them because they're pretty. What do we got in here? Chromatic metal, because we're in a yellow star system. Yeah, I don't need any of that stuff. And I don't need those rooms at all because I have frigate missions. And they are now free. I'm very happy about that. I'm super thrilled. Another thing that we went over how much of a bonus it was, but all of those other missions, they changed as well. They're all much faster now. Look at that. Those short missions that were 3 hours are now less than 1 hour. I can get my frigate missions done instantly. I don't need to worry about mission duration reduction bonuses. You know what might be funny though? Let's see how they affect it. Let's send my best ones. 5%, 4%. Oh, those are my best ones on the save, are they? The Normandy has a 3%. We'll send that. I thought I had another 4%. No. All right, well, we're still leveling them up, but let's see what we get on that. We got that down to 2 hours and 37 minutes. We could put a couple of these on. How many of those do I got? 1 hour and 41 minutes for a 3,500 light year mission. That's amazing. That's amazing stuff. I'm not going to do that. That'd be really wasteful. But now all of my stuff... come on, camera. Now all of my stuff is free. It's going to be easy going from here on in. And hopefully if you follow some of the stuff in this guide for your end game save, you can get there too. Not too hard. Support frigates are very easy to come by. Available in lots of systems. And definitely try to find ones that cost 2 or 3 tons of fuel per 250 instead of ones that cost 7 or 8 tons of fuel per 250. It'll save you even more than the bonuses you get from those frigates. Bonuses, secondary. First thing you're looking for is your fuel cost per light year. That's the most important stat on any frigate, even if you are going to go for living frigates or combat frigates, specific frigates, it's the most important stat. Keep track of that one first. That's it for today, everybody. Till next time, have a good time.